Social shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can put all that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, people, we are back again with another top 10, and today we're going to be looking at, I don't actually know what you guys want to call them, so I'm gonna say wing backs slash fullbacks, just purely because some may be considered one or the other, but they're almost like the same thing. So do I put this player in there or not? Listen, guys, I don't know. I was really confused with the title, so we're just going to run with it anyway. I think you'll get what I mean when we start going through the players anyway. But listen, without further ado, let's just get into it. So in at number 10, we have got who I like to call Mr. Jules. Mr. Jules Koundé, Barcelona right back. He used to be a centre back, but he has transitioned into that right back role superbly. You know, he's absolutely brilliant over there. He's very, very difficult, you know, to get past as a fullback in a general sense. He's got the pace, got that recovery pace, but also I think spending time, you know, as a centre back really helped his game develop, you know, and his understanding, you know, his awareness, you know, his reading of the game, in my opinion, has just gotten better, you know, over the years. And now, listen, at first playing over there at right back, I did think it would be a little bit difficult for him, and to be honest, I felt that it was, because he was quite limited over there in that right back slot. But you can see over the last like season or two, shall we say, you can see he's really developed, you know, in that kind of role and in that kind of position. And I think he has just gone from strength to strength. And I think that in the next few seasons, you're going to see him climbing up this kind of list. Once he adds maybe a bit more, would I say maybe a bit more in the attacking sense to his game, I think he would climb up this list. But for the time being, I think, you know, he deserves to be, you know, in at number 10. In at number 9, we do have Theo Hernandez, the left wing back over at AC Milan. Listen, I think in the last couple of seasons, for me, he's just kind of dropped a level a little bit. He's still quality in terms of, you can see in moments and, you know, in certain games, you know, the quality of Theo Hernandez's left foot is absolutely ridiculous. You know, I almost feel like he's someone, and a bit like others on this list, you know, he can probably play left midfield or left wing if you really needed him to, you know, to actually do that. Heck, I can also even see him as almost a left-sided central midfielder, but he might not just have that kind of work rate. But, you know, at times when he is on it, Theo Hernandez is a player that I think, you know, can rival the best left backs and the best fullbacks in the world, because he has the technical ability and he's got more than most, to be honest. Even ones higher on this list, he's definitely got that technical ability. So, you know, that's not the problem. I think it's just more maybe, I don't know, the ambition, maybe the work rate. I do think at times he can be a bit rash, you know, and that kind of doesn't always help him. But when we're just talking about his actual qualities, this guy is a quality player. And I just think I would love to see him get back to that level where he was performing at a very high level, you know, a few seasons back. But listen, we might, you know, see that in the future. But for now, I've got him in at number 9. So at number 8, we have gone for Jeremy Frimpong. I think Frimpong, he deserves to be, you know, on this list for what he's done, you know, for Bayern Leverkusen, especially helping them to win, you know, the Bundesliga title. And he did play kind of a major part, you know, within that. And when you're talking about a player now, technical ability, I don't think is really up there, so to speak, if we're comparing him to, you know, the other players in terms of, you know, the way he dribbles, and he's quite a raw individual. But when I tell you, he's probably, alongside maybe one of the other players on this list, probably one of the quickest players in world football. In fact, 2 other players on this list, actually. He's one of the quickest players. It's going to be almost impossible trying to catch someone, you know, like him. He is so fast, and he's very, very difficult once he gets going. And I think what I like about Frimpong the most is that he's been able to transition from what we would call, quote unquote, like your typical fullback. Obviously, when he was at Manchester City, and then of course moving to Celtic, and then from Celtic to Bayern Leverkusen. When I watch him now, I'm like, this guy's a winger now. You know, of course, Xabi Alonso, you know, putting him in that, him and Grimaldo, you know, in those kind of further forward areas and operating as like wing backs and stuff like that. But when I also look at, I think this guy is really a winger. You know, you can tell, because defensively, I do think that that's where he loses a little bit of concentration. I don't think it's as bad as people make out to be, but I don't think it's also as good as it should be, you know, at this kind of stage. But going forward, he seems to really read the game really, really well. He seems to operate in pocket spaces. I've seen him play almost as like a false 9, as a striker, as a number 10, you know, and all these kind of different things. But, you know, it is that kind of wing back role that kind of puts him, you know, in that kind of area. And I think for me, he deserves to be in this position. Number 7, we have got Jurrien Timber. He falls in more into, I would say, maybe like the Koundé kind of role, which is, wouldn't call him an out and out wing back, but he is a full back, I guess. Well, he has been playing there anyway for Arsenal, you know, as of this season. But he's like an all-round defender, so he could probably enter into a left back list, a centre back list, and a right back list, to be honest with you. But we'll put him in the full back / wing back list anyway. He is absolutely quality. I think when I watched Timber, someone who, you know, suffered that ACL injury, you know, it was going to be very interesting to see how he would come back and be able to kind of, you know, kick on with his career, you know, moving from Ajax, you know, initially, you know, to Arsenal. It was always going to be a big move. And I do think now, watching him play today, I think this guy is so well-rounded. It's ridiculous, you know. I think he's another one, almost probably a bit like, you know, a Koundé, where I think if he could maybe improve on the attacking output, but again, I don't know what the role that he's been told to kind of do, you know, at Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. But when I just look at it on the face of it, that's probably the only thing that I can think of with him, because he's very, very good in defense in terms of his 1v1 battles. You know, he's good. He's got, you know, brilliant positioning. He's got a brilliant, you know, awareness, understanding of the game, reading of the game. He can move into the midfield with and without the ball. Like, he's got all of that, you know, about his game. I think it's just really further forward if he can maybe just sort it out, but I mean, if he could just improve upon that, he'd probably be in like the top 3 kind of 4 players in his kind of position. But, you know, listen, he's only just come back from injury. That could be something that is the next on his kind of hit list, and at this moment in time, he's doing absolutely fine. In at number 6, the only word I would use, or phrase I would use to describe Dimarco, is he's a real bad boy. It's probably the best way for me to kind of describe him. Absolute bad boy. You know, technical ability, yeah, he's got that. Defensive nous, yeah, he's got that as well. Like, this guy is, honestly, I think, I look at someone like him and I think he would, if he was in a team full of stars, he reminds me of the Guti of today, in terms of, obviously Inter Milan don't have the same level of stars, of course, like they had like Zidane and Figo. But when you think about him, I feel like he goes under the radar, you know, as a player, in a general sense. I'm like, do you even know how good DiMarco is? Like, he's literally one of the best fullbacks or wingbacks or whatever it is you want to call him out there, you know, kind of thing. And I feel like he's just gotten better with age. So I would love to see what he's like, you know, when he gets older, in terms of, obviously, you know, losing pace and things like that, you know. But I feel like his understanding of the game is so good that I don't feel like that's going to impact his game too much, you know, kind of thing. I think he will just change it. And I don't know what it is, but some players, I think, I look at them and think, I don't know, I can see another position for you, you know. I like, if the game becomes a bit too quick for you, I feel like he can move into another position. I'm not going to say where, but I just think more centrally at least is where I can see his game being changed to. Like, watch out for that one. Watch out, you know, just in the next few years, obviously, once, of course, unless he, you know, can maintain that level of kind of pace and agility that he's got now, which I don't think he would be, but just watch out for that. And I think, yeah, he's going to be an interesting kind of one to, you know, to look at. Now we get to the top 5, and in at number 5, I've gone with Alejandro Grimaldo, the Bayern Leverkusen. I was about to say Bayern Munich there, but the Bayern Leverkusen left wing back / left midfielder. I don't know what he actually is. Just like Frimpong on the other side, you'd have to ask Xabi Alonso, but for the sake of this, he's gonna go in this list. This guy, talk about a career turnaround, if I'm being totally honest with you. I mean, obviously, you know, Barcelona youth product, you know, you thought, okay, maybe he might be the next kind of player, or one of the next players to kind of, you know, come back in or come through the youth ranks and stuff like that. He's been at Barca, you know, we're talking way back when, you know, he's been at Barcelona, didn't really make the grade there. So, you know, moved on to Benfica, and it was kind of like, I was a bit disappointed because I had him as a player who was going to be able to come through. But hey, listen, it is what it is. Went to Benfica, and I just feel like his career just went up and up and up. But let's say in the last, say, 4 years, shall we say roughly the 2 years at Bayer Leverkusen and then the last 2 at, you know, Benfica, his game is just, this guy is like, I don't even know what it is. He's literally one of those players who, you know, they just get better with age, you know. Again, just like some of the other players on this list, technical ability, he's definitely got that. But it's not even just that. It's his all-round game just seems to be of this kind of crazy level. And he's seemingly just being able to continue that even now, you know, for Bayern Leverkusen, you know, this season he's maintaining the level, you know, of the player that he actually is. So big testament to him, man, and big testament to the fact that he's been able to kind of stick at it, you know, throughout his career. And now you look at him and think he's easily one of, as I said, top 5, you know, wing backs in world football. Now in at number 4 is an interesting one, and I've obviously gone with Hakimi. You know, I look at Hakimi, and obviously we know he's got this like blistering pace, which makes it extremely difficult, you know, for people, opposition wingers, you know, to get past him. But sometimes I think about Hakimi and I'm like, I don't know, like I really don't know. I don't know what it is about you. There's just something about you as an individual that I don't know if you've just got great PR, although I don't know, because you're not really that type of person. But yeah, there's something about Hakimi when I watch him play. I'm just like, this guy is almost just so complete at what he does, you know, as a fullback. It's almost like, you know, I mean, he can take free kicks as well, which of course helps him with that. You know, he's really good at set pieces, but he can get himself forward. I think it's, you know, the pace, maybe it's just that, I don't really know, but there's something about when you watch Hakimi, you're just watching a player and you think to yourself, I feel like he's just been so consistent throughout his time, you know, at PSG, and he's just remained that way. Got better obviously at Dortmund and things like that, and he just maintained a level. I don't feel like he's ever really dropped off, you know, in terms of these actual level. He's always just remained like this, whereas I think other players kind of have maybe dropped off for a season, but their peak is maybe a bit better than, you know, maybe than a Hakimi. But he definitely deserves to be up there, and it was a struggle between number 4 and number 3, and again, you could pick either or in that kind of position, but for now I will go with Hakimi being in at number 4. So at number 3, I have gone with the scasser in the team, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. This guy is probably on this list. He's probably got the best ability on the ball, and what I mean by that is he's one of top 2 passers probably in world football at this current moment in time, and I don't think anybody else on this list has a quality about them that would put them in the top 2 of anything, to be honest with you. And he has that, which is his passing ability. There have been calls, you know, in terms of people questioning his defensive kind of acumen over the last couple of years. I think this season he's been okay. And I think at the end of the day, just like with everybody else on this list, I think you also have to look at it and think of it like this, that he's just always going to be better going forward than he would be defensively. That's just the way it is. It is what it is. It's just one of those kind of things, and there's nothing that can realistically be done about it. Of course, he will have some stinkers, as we have seen, but he will have games where the passing is so ridiculous that you think to yourself, how can one man do this? You know, with the ball at his feet. We thought David Beckham, Pirlo's, and people of that kind of ilk were brilliant at passing. I would say he's probably better than those guys when it does come to, you know, his passing ability. The fact that his range is endless. Left foot, right foot, he can do it both. And, you know, it's just ridiculous, you know, with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But yeah, for me, I would put him in at third. Number 2, we've got one of my favorite players in world football, and that is Alphonso Davies. This guy is an athlete. He is an absolute athlete. He's so good, and he's so athletic that Bayern Munich don't even, I mean, now they do, but there was a period of time when Bayern Munich, I would say last season, maybe even the season before, where they didn't even use really a left winger. They just gave Davis that whole left side of the pitch and said, yep, that's all yours, mate. That's all yours. So left back, left mid, left wing, whatever you want to call it, all down that left-hand side was his. And he can handle that absolutely calm. You know, even his positioning on the pitch at times, he's someone who, like, he cheats, of course, like most of these fullbacks would do and wingbacks would do anyways. They cheat with their positioning. So they end up in this kind of, I'm not really playing left wing back, I'm probably more left midfield, but he knows he's got the pace and the ability to be able to get himself back. He's a very good defender as well. I wouldn't say he's the best defender on this list, so to speak, but in terms of just like an all-round game, this guy he's so amazing, absolutely amazing. Definitely one of the best fullbacks I've seen, you know, in a very, very long time. And the fact that he's still relatively young, it just means that, you know, hopefully, you know, getting over injuries and things like that, and he doesn't, you know, get himself injured, I think he can take his game to a whole new level. And I think the way he probably does something like that is either one of two ways. Either he keeps doing what he's doing and just becomes literally resolute Maldini-esque, which, you know, is difficult as it is, or he's just gonna add like a lot of goals to his game, like goals and assists, and, you know, he's going to be breaking, you know, stupid amounts of records from left back. You know, that's probably one of two ways. But, you know, when I think about Alphonso Davies, man, this guy is such a brilliant player, man. And I think right now I look at him and I say, between him and number 1 that I've got here, you could go either or, in my personal opinion. I just think he's just got everything in his game to become and to actually be and is a top player. And number 1, this one, I almost feel like this is a bit of a cheat, if I'm being honest with you, but I'm going to put him in the wing back role. I'm going to put him there because Pep Guardiola is weird with the way that he kind of plays his players. Like, is Vardio really a fullback? I mean, he's played fullback, but he's also played centre back. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to put him in this list regardless anyway, which is, he is the number 1 for me. He literally has everything about his game. Like everything that you'd want, he has that. In a wing back, in a full back, in a defender, centre back, right back, it doesn't actually matter. He can play in those areas. He can play further forward if he wanted to. He's got good dribbling ability. He's got a weak foot. We've seen with some of the goals that he's scored. He's good defensively. He's strong, relatively quick. His understanding of the game is really good. Yeah, this guy is like a complete player in his position, in my personal opinion. He is as complete as you can possibly get. I would say at times maybe consistency. I mean, this season is obviously difficult for Manchester City players because they've been so poor. So I know some people might look at that and think, oh no, how can you put a Manchester City player top? But for me, he has to be. He just has to be. He's the most complete player on this list. He literally has every asset that you would want in your wing back, just in a defender in general, to be honest with you. And I could easily have put him in this, you know, the centre back list if I really wanted to. But we'll keep him in this wing back list because I do think he's more of a wing back by trade more than anything else. I don't feel like a centre back is his role if it's not a back 3 anyway, to be honest with you. And even when he does play like a back 4 for Manchester City, he's always pushed up so much that he's basically playing either full back or as a wing back anyway, you know. So yeah, for me, Josko Vardio, he is the best wing back that I know in today's, you know, day and age, to be honest with you. I just don't think there is a better fullback than him. But let me know what you guys think. But there you go, people, man. That is my top 10 wingbacks / fullbacks, whatever you want to call them. Let me know what your top 10 is in the comment section, people. We'll catch you next time. Peace.